Hi guys, welcome to Zoic Access Now Live. My name is Harry and I'm here for the next between 30 minutes and an hour, depending on how sort of busy we get. I'm here to answer any of your questions you have about Zoic, so please do fire away if you have any questions about your Zoic setup, about Zoic in general, or if you just want to ask me a question, then I'm here for it. So yeah, please do fire away. Let's get going. Hey guys, how's it going? Hi guys, welcome. Please do get any questions in the comments. I'll be happy to help answer them for you. Hi there for any. Okay, so Gaz has got a question. Thanks, Gaz. So Gaz has said, I'm having a problem setting sidebar placeholders to save in position. It says they're saved, but it doesn't even appear as, but they don't appear even though they are logged and so on my dashboard. Okay, that's a great question, guys. So we do tend to find that sidebar placeholders can be a little finicky sometimes. It can depend how you've got your sidebar set up. So if you set it up using sort of container widgets throughout the sidebar that might have a related post widget, sometimes people have like a contact us widget there as well. Essentially what can happen is that the placeholder gets added to the page and then the widget gets added afterwards and it sort of lays over the top, collapsing the placeholder, and it means that we can't show the ad. So yeah, so it can be a little bit finicky in the sidebar. What I would probably recommend doing, if you can, is create a new sort of container / widgets on the sidebar itself and then attach the placeholder inside of that. I tend to find, again, it's not an exact science, but I tend to find that usually is a bit more consistently successful at getting placeholders to stick on the page. So yeah, let me know how that works, and hopefully that helps. Cheers, guys. Esther's got a question. Is there a guideline on how best to place ads on home pages for good user experience? So I think this is a great question. I think it's really important to make sure that you've got your ads set up so that user experience isn't affected. And that is something that Zoic really excels at, because what we do is we'll only show an ad in a location if we decide that it's preferable for that user to see it. It suits what they prefer to see from ads. And therefore, in many ways, it sort of doesn't matter how you set up your ad, because we'll always show it for the best user experience possible. So that being said, some people prefer to have less ads on the homepage, or some people prefer not to have ads on the homepage. That's kind of up to you. But I would honestly recommend just setting up your ads as you would set up a normal post. So disperse it. Usually a homepage will have sort of links to posts rather than actual written content. So if you disperse your placeholders throughout those links, as opposed to as opposed to, well, the same way that you would intersperse your placeholders throughout your content. You should be able to get a setup that one suits the homepage from a sort of functional perspective, but it also means that your user experience is not suffering as a result of that. So yeah, just set them up as normally, and then let our AI work its magic, and it'll show the ads in accordance to optimize for user experience as well as for revenue. But it's a great question. Thanks for asking that, Eska. So we got a question from SK Educates. Hi Harry, in my levels dashboard it shows responsive ads are not out of 100. How can we set up responsive ads using the Chrome extension? Okay, that's a great question. So the responsive ads part of Ezoic you should be able to set this up within the Chrome extension itself. So you can set minimum sizes and enable responsive ads from the Chrome extension. So what I'm going to do is just find you a guide and I'll add that to the comments. So I'm just speaking to a member of our team to get the guide up for you, and I'll send that in the comments once I have it. Cheers. Thanks for your question, SK Education. United, hey, my website is disapproved by Google AdSense, but Ezoic open for Ezoic monetization, but ads are not showing. So when you apply Ezoic, we need you to apply to Google's Ad Manager. That's how we're able to get high-paying ads for your site. Unfortunately, if you're not approved by AdSense, then Google won't actually approve the site for Ad Manager. So what you need to focus on doing is getting your AdSense denial overturned. Do you know, was it denied for policy reasons or for traffic reasons? Were you given any information towards that? Hi, Junaid. Just while we're waiting for you to get back to me, we've got a few questions in the queue, so I'm going to go and continue answering those. But let me know whether your site was denied for policy or for traffic reasons, and what I can do is go ahead and send you the relevant appeal form so you can get an appeal through. Gaz has jumped in with another question here. He said, I do have a recent... Oh, so that's just in addition to your problem with the sidebar placeholders, right? So I've got a recent post widget and a simple text widget at the top of the sidebar. Is it easier to delete those? So you could delete those, but I guess they're probably quite useful from a sort of user perspective. I think recent post widgets and things like that are handy. What I would maybe consider doing is adding another simple text widget below, and rather than putting text in it, then you could attach the placeholder code inside it. You want to make sure that the widget has like an adaptive size to it. If you don't set any size constraints, then it'll be able to change in length, and that way we'll be able to show larger placeholders or smaller placeholders, smaller ads, depending on what the sort of user prefers. But yeah, so if you maybe try and add another blank widget below those and insert it there, that should work. And if not, and you want to delete all of them, then that should work as well. So yeah, either of those two are definitely an option. Okay, so Esther's got a follow-up question. I have an action to switch from Bluehost to Ezoic. How would I log into WordPress via Ezoic and manage subdomains, CNAMEs, etc.? So unfortunately, our WordPress hosting, it is free, but it is quite sort of light on features, and we don't actually offer support for subdomains at the moment. So if a site with subdomains and any sort of CNAME redirection, that sort of thing is something you're wanting to set up, then I would probably recommend sticking with a different hosting provider. What I can do is send you this link to a list of hosts that work certified seamless with Azoic. And this means that if you get set up on one of these hosts, you won't have any problems with compatibility or anything like that, but they should actually give you access to more features. They come in a big range of a big sort of range of pricing plans as well. So if you wanted something on the cheaper side, there's something there. Or if you prefer to spend a little more money on your hosting, then there'll be options for that as well. So I've just added that to the comments just here. So I hope that helps. We've got a message from IP Films. Hey, IP Films, how are you? Hi, Harry. I've been made aware that the 10K minimum traffic requirement has been removed. However, I've seen the Azoic site mentions that my content has to be rich in order to be accepted. Could you elaborate? Yeah, of course. So it typically works with blog-style informational content rather than. So what we say when we need content rich is that we need the content itself to provide valuable information that's not just easy to gather elsewhere. So that kind of means we don't want scraped content, of course, because that's against requirements. But also, if you're just adding content to the site, sort of, for example, like mobile phone specifications or something like that, where it could be easily found elsewhere on another site, we would need your own like written content to accompany that provides value. So so if we take a site about cell phones, mobile phones as an example, what we mean when we say content rich is we would need you might give a review about a cell phone or mobile phone, and you'll have information on specifications, images, all that good stuff that you might find elsewhere. But you'll also have plenty of your own written content with your opinions, what you think is good, what you think is bad about the phone. And that's just sort of an example, but we're looking for longer form content, probably in the 1,000 words per article range, like 500 to 1,000 words, rather than sort of short bursts of content and like loads and loads of posts, but with not actually much written content on them. So hopefully that helps. What I'm going to do is leave a link to our requirements, which covers it in a little more detail, but hopefully that's made things a bit clearer for you. Bear with me a couple of seconds. I'll just leave a link there so you can check that out. You can see our full list of requirements, and hopefully that'll provide a little bit more clarity for you. But thanks for checking in, and thanks for your questions. So Junaid's got back to it. So the reason you were denied, Junaid, was for thin content and of low quality. So the first thing I would do is to maybe take a little bit of time to actually build out your content base more. So we're talking each category in your blog should contain at least sort of 7 to 10 articles, and each of those should be at least 500 words, ideally closer to 1,000 words in length or longer. Make sure that you're creating a site that has a fixed niche or focus. I think what I see a lot of sites getting denied for low quality, what they're doing is they're creating a site that is about sports, but also about technology, and then about celebrity lifestyle and things like that. And that's okay, great. You're providing a wide range of information, but by not offering a focused sort of niche or subject matter, then Google are typically categorizing this as low quality. So if your site is one of those sites, then I would recommend changing strategy and focusing on something that is more sort of streamlined and more singular. But yeah, I would maybe take a few weeks to just have a think about where your content is focused, making sure that you've got enough content on the site, and you should be able to get an opportunity to reapply for AdSense. When you do reapply, hopefully you'll get approved, and once you're approved, we'll be able to continue with the setup with Azoic. But unfortunately, until then, We need AdSense approval to get ad manager approval, and we need ad manager approval in order to start serving ads. So there's not a great deal as it can do to continue this until you've been approved for AdSense, I'm afraid. But I do hope that's helped. Please do let me know if you have any more questions. Okay, where are we at? So Rude's jumped in with a question. Hi, Rude. Last night I blocked a placeholder created by AI by doing disabled ads by page, ad tester, AI placeholders, and added two rules for the top of the page, but they are continued to show. Can you help me clear my ad cache? I'm not sure how. Sure. So you should be able to clear your cache just through the speed tab of your Ezoic account. But if you want to send me your website name, then I can look in a little more detail and see if we can find why that's happening. If you're still not getting the result you wanted. Occasionally what happens is that AI placeholders do kind of stack in a way that you can remove a couple and then they'll just get replaced by other ones. So sometimes it takes a few attempts to get them all out. But yeah, if you want to send your site name over, I can take a look at the rules that you've set up and we can get that started for you, Rude. Saswata's jumped in with a question. Hi, Saswata. Is it possible to bulk block a certain ad size throughout the placeholder instead of manually going through each one? I don't think so, I'm afraid. We don't really have any features set up for bulk blocking in this way, but is there a reason why you're looking to block this particular ad size? Is it causing issues on your site? If you want to send your site name over again, then I can take a closer look into this for you. In the meantime, Ahmed's jumped in with a question. Ezoic added placeholders. I've disabled all of that and added 15 placeholders using the Chrome extension. Somebody said to me that to enable Ezoic's plugging placeholders and that will increase your earnings. Is that it? So we definitely recommend adding at least 10 to 15 placeholders per page on your site, which it sounds like you've already done, which is great. It's kind of up to you, really. If you want to increase your earnings, then I would always say adding more placeholders will help with that. It won't necessarily mean that more ads will show, but what it will do is it'll give Ezoic more combinations of ad layouts to experiment with, and then we can find something that more closely optimizes to your site. I always recommend using the WordPress plugin because it can add placeholders to your site within a couple of clicks. It will be less manual than the Chrome extension, so it means that you won't control exactly where the placeholders go on the page, but they should be set up so they're not placed in an intrusive way or a way that is bad for user experience. So I would definitely recommend using the WordPress plugin if you haven't already. And what I can do is I'll find you a guide on how to use this. So if you follow this guide here, Ahmed, this will help you set up placeholders using the WordPress plugin. And this should definitely help with your earnings if you're worried about how much you're making from Ezoic. Okay, great. Jeremy's jumped in with a question. Hi, Jeremy. Is Google AMP still discouraged on Ezoic? The Ezoic AMP converter looks pretty good. So we're actually sort of phasing out, or have pretty much entirely phased out support for our AMP converter at the moment. And what we've essentially found with AMP is while they can be pretty good for speed performance, they tend to perform really poorly when it comes to monetization. And I think the problem with that is because so much of it is controlled by Google. Google essentially caches and serves the page straight from their servers, which means that we're pretty restricted in how we can optimize pages. So we generally tend to not support AMP pages for people. We've also found that Google are actually phasing out their preference for it when it comes to search rankings and things like that, and they're actually they actually included standard mobile pages as the sort of preferred option that they'll use in things like Google News and things like that. So I think at one point AMP had this massive SEO preference, and they were really good for speed, and those two things in combination meant that they were a really good option for a lot of people. And now it's kind of not the case so much. So I guess it's up to you. Like, we don't want to tell you how to run your site. If AMP is something that you really like, and I admit they're a great user experience when you're on them, then sure, go ahead and set them up. But we are fairly restricted in what we can do monetization wise, and because all of it is so controlled by Google, we can't really optimize them through Leap either. So it means that you could be potentially missing out on a lot of optimization on the exotic side of things by using AMP. Again, that's not me saying you should go one way or the other. It's just more of a preference sort of thing. If you would prefer to use AMP over exotic optimization for your mobile pages, then go for it. But yeah, hopefully that's answered your question a little. If you have any more questions on AMP, I'd be happy to answer them. So yeah, please do let me know. Malix has said hello, hi there. And we've got another question from Esther. So Esther said, once the exotic setup is complete, what should I be focusing on to keep growing with exotic? So I think the beauty of what we do from a sort of ad optimization perspective is that our system, it uses machine learning, and because of that, it's always adapting and always optimizing your site. So we'll keep running tests to find preferable sort of ad setups that are working better with your users, and if we find one, then we'll phase that in on a higher sort of percentage of page views. So I guess from a monetization perspective, once you are set up with exotic, there's sort of no continuous changes that need to be made. You can just leave it to do its thing. And then, so I guess outside of that, what you may want to choose to focus on is if your site speed is maybe something that you want to improve, then you can use Leap to optimize that. Our big data analytics tool contains loads of insights into where your users are actually engaging with your content the most, what they're preferring to see, what they're not preferring to see. And so you can use that to sort of inform your content strategy to try and boost SEO a little. The tools are sort of all there for you to use. It just depends on which direction you want to go. But if you're looking for something else to do with regards to setup, once you finish with monetization, then site speed is there, ready, available for you to use. And Leap is a fairly sort of quick setup process. So I'd definitely recommend giving that a try. If you're a little confused as to the settings, because it is a pretty deep tool, like if you'd like to know a little bit more about how it works, we do actually have an optional site speed course available. So when you go into the speed tab in your exotic account, you'll see an option to sort of take the site speed course, and it'll give you advice on setting Leap up, what to do if things aren't working properly, making sure that everything is optimized fully. So yeah, I definitely recommend doing that. And as a bonus as well, once you complete the course, you'll get the option to have one of our Leap experts set up Leap for your site for you, rather than you setting up yourself. So if that's something that you think you'd be interested in, then doing the course is definitely worth it, I'd say. But yeah, so maybe go and take a look at our site speed tools and see if there might be something that works for you, for sure. So Coding Shiksha has said, what is the average? Do you mind sort of elaborating on that a little bit, Shiksha? I'll move on to some of the questions while you're typing, but I'll get right back to you. See, Jeremy said he's going to hold off on AMP for now. I do personally think that's a good idea, but yeah, sure. You're welcome. I'm glad that's made sense to you a little. So we've got a question from Mobile Crypto Miner. So Exotic has approved your domain, AdSense has approved it, and then Ad Manager keeps disapproving it. It's been months that you've been reapplying. Yeah, I guess we are seeing this happen from time to time, and it is super frustrating. I think, yeah, I am sorry that you've been experiencing this. There's essentially I think Google are still trying to iron out their review process for MCM, and as a result, publishers are suffering because of this. And I guess there's not a ton that we can sort of do to influence their review process, but we can make sure that you are best set up to sort of pass. Would you be able to send your domain name over so we can take a look and see if there's any areas for improvement? Because there's actually a few little simple things which some people may like overlook, and just adding something as simple as a privacy policy page to your site can go from getting you disapproved to approved. So I'd be more than happy to take a look at the site and see if we can get you passed. So please do send it over in the comments, and we can take a look. Cheers. So Travel the World's got a question. Hi, Travel the World. AdSense has rejected your site due to a policy violation. You made some changes, resubmitted the site and applied for a ZOIC, but you're currently not sure to expect. Will you be checking my site? So we review all sites separately to AdSense. What I will say is that we have a lot of the same requirements as AdSense. So if a site has been rejected for AdSense, we will most likely not approve it. But we are seeing some sites get, I guess, unduly denied for AdSense. So we will still conduct our own review of the site, and if we think it's suitable, then we can approve it. But the problem is that we need ad manager approval in order to be able to serve ads on the site. So, and you tend to not be able to get ad manager approval without AdSense approval, or at least being explicitly disapproved for AdSense means that you're pretty much guaranteed to not be able to get ad manager approval, and therefore we won't be able to serve ads. So what I would definitely recommend doing is trying to get that policy violation overturned. To do that, I would make sure you're checking that your traffic is still organic and is still genuine. I'd also take a look over your content. If they'd approved you in the past and then have disapproved you later on, it could be content that you published more recently. But what I can do is grab you an appeal form. So it looks like you've already resubmitted this site to AdSense, so I won't send that form over. But yeah, so wait to hear back to see what they say, and then I guess we can go from there. But yeah, so once you do get AdSense approval, then we'll be able to continue. SK Educates. Sorry, I've just seen you follow up on the responsive ads. It was just taking a while for us to find the info we needed. So increasing your score on responsive ads. What responsive ads essentially are, it means that you're setting up rules in your placeholders which say that certain ads can only serve over a minimum screen size. So what this is really useful for is things like ads that you show on mobile, which will have a lot of different sort of screen widths. So certain ad sizes you only want to show up when the screen is wider. So what you can do in each placeholder, you can go into if you go into the ad sizes that are allowed, and next to each one, you'll see that there's a minimum screen size in pixels. So if you start to set up minimum screen sizes for some of the larger ad sizes, then you'll see your score for the minimum screen for responsive ads go up. I'm not actually sure if we have we may have some information in this post here. Yeah, so I'm going to send you a link to setting up ads using Ad Tester. And if you scroll down, you'll see that there's a section with the ad sizes where you can set a minimum screen size. So focus on doing that for your placeholders, and then you should start to see your level rise to 100 for the for the responsive ads section in levels. I get that's a little confusing because there's not like an on-off setting in Ezoic, but that is how you'll be able to improve that. Dalip's saying, why are Ezoic ads not compatible with Google Web Stories? It's just Google Web Stories is sort of a new quite I guess a new sort of craze from an SEO perspective, a new technology. I guess they work a little similar to Instagram stories, Snapchat stories, things like that. It's just not something that we've developed support for right now. It may be something that we look at down the line, but I guess our sort of setup is more focused on like our ad optimization works best on long form written content, which is why those are the sort of sites that we work with. So I guess if you're looking at a small screen and they're just single page, it's just single page content that's essentially all above the fold. There's not much actual room to optimize ads there, right? So it may be that we decide it's not viable to actually develop support for web stories. I don't know of any upcoming features that will support web stories anytime soon, but it's just the fact that it's new tech that we've so far not decided to build out support for. But never say never. We might decide if there's enough need for it, we might decide to optimize for it in the future. But remember that Google's ranking factors and things like that and methods of showing content are changing all of the time. So we see it on things like Google Discover and things like that, and now things are more focused towards web stories. In 6 months, they might be focused more towards something else. I get that they're really popular right now, but it's just not something that we're choosing to support at the moment. So Shaiman has said, what is the average Epmb in Europe? So we don't actually have a value for average Epmb because it's contingent on so many factors. So location and niche are just one of many, literally thousands of factors that go into deciding what Epmb actually is. Things like user actual visit depth, how many pages per session that they're visiting, what their time on site is, what their actual engagement rate is with the content, are they returning visitors? These are all things that influence it. So I've seen sites that perform really well on $10 Epmb, and I've seen sites that are getting $150 Epmb that are performing not so well. So what I would actually focus on, Shuman, is actually looking at what you were seeing before Ezoic, what your performance was like then, and then looking at what your performance is like now when you're with Ezoic. And typically we can significantly improve over things like AdSense. It can take a little bit of time to get going, but rather than looking at a value of Epmb to hit in general, that doesn't really make too much sense. But if you can work out what Epmb you were getting with AdSense or whatever sort of tech you were using previously, you should see that we're able to sort of improve on that. So hopefully that answered your question. Rude has said, I read the Ezoic post on changing theme and hard coding placeholders, but all my placeholders are done through the WordPress plugin. Does this mean I don't need to hard code? Yeah, so with the WordPress plugin, it should mean that your placeholders will at least transfer over. And if they don't, you can sort of fairly quickly regenerate them. I guess the downside is that if we need to regenerate placeholder setup, we might need to re-optimize. So you could see earnings drop while our system starts to relearn which placeholder locations are better for you, or better for your user base rather. But the advantage with the WordPress plugin as opposed to the Chrome extension, how we used to recommend setting up placeholders, is that the setup takes, in theory, seconds, right? So you can just regenerate the placeholders, and they should all get automatically added to your page. But yeah, so you shouldn't need to hard code placeholders if you're changing theme, but you're using the plugin. You should just be able to do it through the plugin. Hi guys. you've deleted all the widgets in the sidebar, but you can't get the placeholder in position. Sidebar top is fine, but sidebar middle and then sidebar floating don't want to hold. Yeah, I am sorry. I am sorry to hear that. That is frustrating. Do I just make the sidebar top floating and forget the rest? I guess that is an option, but what I would probably recommend doing is getting in touch with us via Twist, and somebody can take a little bit more of a detailed look into things. Again, I think the issue is that our placeholders work by attaching themselves to HTML, like actual objects on your page, and in the sidebar they're kind of, there's not that much content there. It's just sort of like boxes. So yeah, so it can mean that it's a little more difficult for us to be able to place them. I would definitely recommend asking about in Twist, because one of our team members will be able to help with that. But yeah, sorry, we couldn't be of more help here. I'm glad that you got one to be able to place, but yeah, we definitely want to be able to get more for you. I'm sorry we couldn't be of more help there. Just checking to make sure I've not missed anyone. We've had a pretty jam-packed 30 minutes or so to start things off. If you do have any more questions, please do feel free to get them in. I'm available. I'm available for the next sort of 30 minutes or so. So I'm happy to help while I'm here. So yeah, please do let me know if you have any questions. Hi Faisal, thanks for your questions. Can I use WP Rocket instead of Leap because my site's mobile page score isn't good at all? Yeah, I guess this is totally up to you. If you're finding more success with using WP Rocket instead of Leap, then go for it. But what I would say is make sure that you don't have full page level HTML caching enabled on WP Rocket, because it can essentially stop our ads from working. Alternatively, I would say that Leap, in the vast majority of cases, will get Core Web Vitals up to at least a satisfactory level, if not a really good level. So if there's something that's not working about your setup, maybe look in the recommendations tab in Leap, and it should be able to point out the technology that you're using, which is slowing things down, which you could use sort of alternatives. I know a really big one is things like page builders, things like Elementor, Beaver Builder is another one that I see a lot, and Divi. So these are great when you're setting up your website, because it's kind of like a drag and drop, very highly customizable system. But the problem that we have with it is that it essentially just uses an absolute ton of JavaScript to load all of your content to the site, and when it loads this JavaScript, it needs to load full libraries of code where it might only be actually using sort of 8, 9, 10% of the code that it is loading to your page. So what happens is you get loads of bloat on your page load, and Ezoic is essentially unable to optimize it. So if you are using tech like that, then I would definitely, it's a pretty big change to make, completely changing your theme, but I would definitely look at a more lightweight, less JavaScript based theme to speed things up. But yeah, so the great thing about Leap is that, yes, we do have optimization settings like WP Rocket, but what we are able to do as well is look at your setup, what other tech you've got in your stack, and say, okay, well, this could be improved by replacing it with an alternative that is faster. We can also give you a list of alternatives. We can give you a list of free alternatives or paid for ones if you want to pay for them. It's all there within Leap. So yeah, if you prefer to use WP Rocket, you're having more success with it. That is completely up to you. Leap is free, so you can use it or choose not to use it as you wish. But I would definitely recommend persisting with it a little. It can make some really sort of valuable recommendations for optimizing your site. And if you do decide to go back to WP Rocket, just make sure the page level caching is turned off, and that shouldn't cause you any issues. So yeah, I hope that helped, Faisal. Ruda said, when I try to put my website URL in, so you can clear my yellow AI add placeholder cache, it blocks the message. Okay, so when you're putting in your URL, are you putting the full URL or just the sort of the directory path after your sort of root domain? Because as far as I'm aware, within the caching app, it just asks for everything in the URL after the root domain, right? So if you're trying to clear the cache on your homepage, you would just put a slash in there and it should work. Let me just double check. Oh, right, okay. Let me see if I can, yeah. Are you able to put the website name in, but with spaces or something like that to hide that it's a URL? I think that's like a spam protection thing that YouTube have put in, and I'm not sure how to turn it off. Great, that's awesome, Rude. Thanks. Yeah, I've got it. Thanks a lot, Rude. I'm just checking this out now. And it's the top of page AI placeholders on your homepage. Is that correct? Okay, great. Top of page and under page title. Okay, I'm just going to double check that they're gone for you, but fingers crossed. We should be sorted. Yeah, so the only AI placeholders I'm seeing now are the only places I'm seeing now are under first paragraph and under second paragraph and so on. So it looks like the top of page and under page title ones are gone. Great. Yeah, glad we could help on that one. You said you never want to show ads as it affects your affiliate click-through rate. Yeah, I guess that's understandable. To be honest, like a lot of people find affiliate revenue is going to earn more than display ad revenue, right? So I guess it's choosing where to focus your display ads. So we find that a lot of people just choose not to display it as like ads on affiliate revenue pages, and they sort of they choose to just focus on the affiliate ads in their affiliate pages and display ads in other sort of blog pages on the site. But what we are seeing as well is that in the last Google update, Google have really cut out preference for things like Amazon affiliate review pages and things like that. Bear with me, I've just got some spam comments in the chat I need to delete. Yeah, so we're finding that Google are phasing out preference for sites that are really heavy on Amazon affiliate reviews and things like that. And we've seen some people's search rankings sort of really tank. And I guess it's a bit of a greedy move by Google because they're saying that they want to provide people They want people to buy everything through Google Shop rather than through Amazon, and this is sort of their strategy to do that. But I guess that's where Ezoic comes in as an advantage. So you could turn your strategy more towards sort of informational blog posts that aren't like affiliate reviews and things like that, and then Ezoic is able to show ads on that, and then you can still show your Amazon affiliate stuff on those pages as well. So I guess if you're worried about your CTR with your affiliate reviews, then maybe just take the Ezoic ads off those pages and then show them on the other pages, and then test to see if you start to perform better in the long run. And if you do, then maybe keep it like that. And if you don't, then maybe sort of start adding some more ads in there as well. When you added Ezoic ads, clicks went up. Well, that's good to know. We do tend to find that, well, the system is designed to improve user experience. So we do find that people stay on sites longer, and clicks do often go up as a result. But yeah, I would 100% encourage you to experiment. That's sort of what Ezoic's philosophy is built upon. So if you find something that's working better for you, then yeah, go for it for sure. Faisal's jumped in with another question. Harry, I've got another question if you can answer it. The sidebar top ad placeholder is active on my site, but I haven't seen any ad there at all. So sometimes you won't see an ad show in that location. It depends what Ezoic's system decides. So if it decides that you as a user would prefer not to see an ad in that location, then it won't show the ad there. And one thing which is, I guess, a little frustrating for website publishers is that as a website owner, you're going to act differently on your site compared to the standard user. So it actually will often show you an ad layout that is probably not what you want to see, which can include sidebar top placeholders. However, what I can do is I can double check that it's definitely working properly. So if you launch the Chrome extension, are you able to definitely see it on the page in the top right? Yeah, Faisal, if you just let me know if you're able to see that. Can it be rank math taking the place? I'm not sure. It depends. Do you want to send your site name over, and I can take a look for you and see if that works? Yeah, if you want to send that over, and I can take a closer look. Just in the meantime, Faisal, I'm going to ask another. If you're comfortable, just send it in the comments, and I'll be able to bring your site up from that. I don't think you'll be affected by any spam or anything like that. But if you want to separate out the words in the domain name, maybe that'll definitely protect from things like that. I think it blocks people from adding URLs in anyway. We had some trouble with that with Rude earlier. I'm just going to answer a couple of questions while you're sending that in, Faisal. I'll come right back to you. So Gaz has said that they've managed to get the floating sidebar working, but it also seems to be placing an ad on the ad category page, which you don't want. Any ideas? So in the in your placeholder settings, if you go into the actual launch the Chrome extension, go into the placeholder settings, then you can actually select URLs for it to not show on. I think it might only let you do one URL at a time, but if you go into your dashboard and then into the monetization tab and go on to disable ads by page, you can set up particular rules for certain placeholder IDs. So what I'll do is I'll send a guide on how to use the disable ads by page app, and it'll show you how to open it and go to the right section of the menu, but you should be able to disable that particular placeholder on your category pages. An alternative is you can just go to each of your category pages, click on the placeholder menu, and then you'll see an option for it'll say do not show on this page. That might actually be quicker if you only have a few category pages. You can just turn them off on those pages individually. So that might be a little quicker for you. Rudy said, I want to turn on revenue focus in the monetization tab for the last month of every quarter. Yeah, but I would say probably a good idea. I'm not sure how many ads will show. We don't. So because we don't always show a static number of ads, it's hard to say how many more ads will show. I will say that it's definitely noticeably more ads, but you should get noticeably more revenue as a result. Yeah, I wish I could show you an example, but I don't really have one because it will just depend on the user. Revenue focused to some users will be 5 ads, and to other users will be 10 ads, right? Like it depends what the sort of user preference is. What I will say is there is definitely a step up in the number of ads on the page. Maybe try that out for a week and then go back to your old setup if you're worried about it, or if you just want to stick to those sort of the last month of each quarter, and in those Black Friday, Christmas, really super profitable months, then yeah, I would say probably the best way for you to tell is to just trial it for a week, or even just try it for a day, see what you think it looks like, and then sort of make the decision then. But yeah, I hope that helps. Sorry, we don't have an example of it, but it's such a dynamic thing. It's hard for us to be able to say, okay, 10 ads are going to show, because they might not, and they might for others, you know. Seo Wizard, I'm facing a huge traffic loss over the last 3 months, facing a server error. Is it related, server and traffic loss? So does this mean that you're seeing the server error in Google Search Console? Reed says, show me the money. Yeah, we hope so. Yeah, so are you facing the 5xx errors in Google Search Console? Are they flagging that there's errors on the page, or is this something that you are seeing yourself when you access the page? Because very occasionally we do see sites run into issues with their connection with their host server when they do integrate with the Zoic, but we should actually be able to fix that for you, or at least help you to fix it. Yeah, so if you could let me know if you're seeing the errors yourself, or if that's something showing up in Search Console. And if you could send me a site name as well, that'd be really helpful. Thanks. SEO Wizard, just as a note, if you're struggling to add your domain name into the comments, it can sometimes block it out to prevent spam. So maybe try adding your domain name with spaces between each word, and that might be able to help you send it over to us. Glad to hear that word for you guys. Yeah, I understand. There's sometimes so many features. It's a little difficult to know where to start when you're trying to troubleshoot these things. But yeah, I'm glad you found a solution to that one. Please do let me know, SEO Wizard. Just if you send over your domain name, I can look into it. I don't want to end the live session with your site down. So I want to be able to help you with that. So please do let me know. In the meantime, Reed said it would be a great idea if Zoic created their own super fast, lightweight, simple to use theme. Yeah, so we've actually worked on something like this in the past, with the placeholders already ready built in, and it had some success. We do tend to find that publishers often want to use their own theme, so people who are more willing to are happier to sort of switch things up. This works really well, but we also want to give users the freedom to sort of give their own aesthetic touches and look and feel to their site. We don't want to have too much control. But yeah, you never know. Look, keep an eye out, and we might have something. We might have something similar that can allow you to sort of get placeholders set up automatically, easier with something like a theme. It's about all I'll say for now. Don't want to give too much away, but yeah, keep an eye out on things for the future for sure. SEO Wizard, I'm just going to answer another couple of questions, but please do send over your domain name and I'll be happy to help out. I haven't forgotten about you. Delete that said, can I use my website content policy instead of the Zoic? Yeah, for sure. So if you go into the privacy section of your Zoic account and you scroll down to the content management page, you'll see that there's an option to use your own third party. So if you've already got one of them set up and it's all set up to meet GDPR, CCPA requirements, things like that, then feel free to use that. That you should be able to use that right away in the menu. If you have any problems with it, though, let us know. SEO Wizard said, you saw the 500 error in your cPanel hosting. Now using Cloudflare server for hosting, but it's not increasing before. Right. Okay. Yeah. So, sorry, it's not too clear from your message. Are you still having the errors now, and or are you no longer having the errors, and you're struggling to increase your traffic? Also, do you have access to Twist SEO Wizard? I'm just thinking if you can't share your site name here, it might be better for you to contact us through Twist, and we can help you out there. The server problem is fixed now, but traffic's not increasing like before. Okay. I guess the main thing to make sure is that you've no longer got any residual errors on the site. I understand it's frustrating to not see your site traffic immediately recover, but keeping on top of those errors is really important, because if Google start to see them again, then they'll continue to decrease preference. What I will say is that Google are always rechecking sites, so if it's not always an instant process, but the traffic will start to improve gradually. Do you know how long ago you stopped seeing the errors? Thanks, Rude. Thanks for joining. We'll see you soon. SEO Wizard, I'm just going to try and see if I can find your site in our system, and we can maybe continue this conversation in Twist, because we don't have much time left on this room booking. So okay, yeah, please do contact us on Twist or through our support channel, and we can help out with this. But I'm gonna finish things up there. So it's been great to speak to you all today. We're gonna run another live session on Thursday and on California time, and then we're gonna run another one on UK time, I think on Friday. So yeah, keep an eye out for those, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks a lot.